Okay, before you start this video, you need to pause it and y'all need to use the box method to find these answers for the warm-up, okay? And then you can play it and make sure that it matches mine, okay? So pause it here. All right, so once you did the box method, you should have ended up with, and if you wrote out all four squares, it would look like x squared minus 4x plus 4x minus 16, okay? And you know that those two cancel out, so your final answer is x squared minus 16, okay? Same thing should have happened on this one. You would have 25m squared minus 5m plus 5m minus 1. But again, the middle ones would cancel out, and you would end up with 25m squared minus 1. And on this last one, you would get 4a squared minus 6ab plus 6ab minus 9b squared. And again, your middle cancels out, and you end up with 4a squared minus 9b squared, okay? So if you will look at all of your answers here, you will notice that two things. One, you can find the square root of every term in these three answers. And two, they all have a minus sign, okay? So this is your difference of squares, and difference is important, meaning subtraction, okay? So, steps to factor a difference of squares. First, we make sure you have an actual difference of squares, must be a subtraction sign, and you can square root both of the terms. So, use the following rule to factor. If you have a squared minus b squared, so if you have it where you can find the square root of both and it's a difference, then you know your answer is going to be a plus b and a minus b. Okay? You can always check your work by distributing, or in this case, putting this in box method and making sure you get your original answer. So on number 1, we have a squared minus 4. Can you find the square root of a squared? Yes. And can you find the square root of 4? Yes. And it has a subtraction sign. So I'm going to use my rule, and that tells me I find what a is. So in this case, it would just be a, because a times a would give me a squared. And the square root of 4 is 2. So I have a plus 2 and a minus 2. Okay. Number 2, can I find the square root of both of them? And is it a subtraction? Yes, to both of those. So I have in 8 is the square root of 64 plus 8 minus 8 every time. Okay. Number 3, can I find the square root of both? Yes, and it is subtraction. Leave it in this order. I know that it's weird that 81 comes first, but you leave it like it is. So the square root of 81 is 9. Square root of x squared is x, plus and minus. Okay, try number 4. Okay, you should get c plus 10, c minus 10. It does not matter if you wrote your minus or plus first, but it obviously just makes more sense to always do it in the same order. Okay, on number 5, why can we not find the difference of squares here? The plus sign. So this would be prime. You cannot take anything out of k squared and 25 like we did yesterday. There's no greatest common factor, and it is not difference, so it is prime. Okay, number 6. I can find the square root of both of them, and it is subtraction. So the square root of 1 is 1. The square root of 49 is 7. And the square root of y squared is y. So I have 1 plus 7y and 1 minus 7y. Number 7. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of b squared is b. 100 would be 10. And you have plus and minus. Okay, remember, if you aren't sure if you're doing it right, go check with your box method. So you have 3b plus 10, 3b minus 10. This would give me 9b squared, 30b, negative 30b, negative 100. Okay, those middle ones cancel out. I end up with 9b squared minus 100. Is it the same? Yes, it is. Okay. Number 8. Square root of 25 is 5. X squared would be x. 49 is 7. Plus and minus. Try number 9. You should have got 4a plus 11, 4a minus 11. Okay. Number 10. Square root of x squared is x. 81 is 9. Y squared is y. Plus, minus. Okay. Try number 11. Square root of 4 is 2. H squared is h. 25 is 5. G squared is g. Plus, minus. Okay. Square root of 64 is 8. U squared is u. V squared is v. So you have 8u plus v. 8u minus v. Flip it over. Okay. Number 13. I would have x, y, plus 1, minus 1. Okay. Square root of 81 is 9. Of n to the power of 4 is n squared. Square root of 25 is 5. It's the same thing, just with your minus sign. Every time. Can I find the square root of 5? No. Can I take anything out of both of these? No. So this is prime. Okay. Number 16. I can find the square root, and they are both subtraction. Remember to always check for subtraction. That might be smart to, on your homework, go find all of them that have plus and just go ahead and put prime next to them. Square root of 49, 7. M to the 4th would be m squared. Square root of 16 is 4. Okay. On number 17, remember that when you are finding the square root of something that has an exponent, you are dividing, not finding the square root of 6. So this would be K3, square root of 16 is 4. So plus 4 minus 4. Okay. Try number 18. Square root of 4 is 2. Your p exponent would be 2. Square root of 25 is 5. Plus 5 minus 5. Square root of 121 is 11. Remember, your r exponent would be 3. Square root of 1 is 1. So you have plus 1 and minus 1. All right, last one like this. The square root of 64 is 8. You would have m squared plus square root of 9 is 3. And you would have an n there, so plus 3n and minus 3n. So down here, we are going to combine yesterday's and today's. So first, we have to look and see if there's a greatest common factor we can take out. And then we will see if we can find the difference of squares. So on number 21, I can divide both of my terms by 2. So I take that 2 out. I'm left with n squared minus 36. Now I need to look at what's left in my parentheses. Can I do difference of squares with this? In this case, yes. Make sure you bring that 2 down. Even though we're not using it anymore, it's part of your answer. So you have n plus 6, n minus 6. Okay? 22, what can I take out of both of those terms? 2, and you're left with 9x squared minus 25. Okay, I can now find my difference of squares. Square root of 9 is 3. So you have 3x plus 5 and 3x minus 5. Okay, on 23, I can take a 2 out. Can I take any variables out? No, because they do not match. So I'm left with 16s squared minus 9u squared. I can find the difference of squares here. So I pull down my 2. The square root of 16 is 4. You split your s. Square root of 9 is 3. And you split your u. Okay. On 24, I can take 5 out, and they both have q as a variable, so I can take 5q out of that binomial. So I'm left with 9q squared minus 4. Remember, bring down your 5q that you took out. You then have the square root of 9 is 3. Split your q up. The square root of 4 is 2. Okay. 25. I can take 6 out of both of these, but my variable is not the same, so I cannot take either variable out. So when I take the 6 out, I'm left with 4a squared minus 9b squared. I bring down my 6. Square root of 4 is 2. You split your a, and then you have minus square root of 9, plus 3 minus 3, b squared, I end up with 6 times 2a plus 3b times 2a minus 3b. Okay, on number 26. I can divide both these numbers by, or both these terms by 4, and there is a b in both of them. So 100 divided by 4 is 25, and you took a b out, so it's b squared. 36 divided by 4 is 9, and you took that b out. So you have 4b. When you break this up, you would end up with 5b, and the square root of 9 is 3. Okay. On 27, I can take 5 out of both of those terms, and I can also take n squared. So 80 divided by 5 is 16. When you take 2 of your n's out, you're left with n squared. 125 divided by 5 is going to be 25, and you took both of those n's out. So we have 5n squared. Square root of 16 is 4. Break that n in half. Then you have plus 5 minus 5. Try number 28 on your own. All right, you can take 8y out, and you'd be left with x squared minus 4y squared. When I break this up, I end up with x plus 2y, x minus 2y. Okay. Number 29, I can divide both of these by 9, and I can take a p out. So I'm left with 4p squared minus 1. Okay. So when I find my difference of squares, I have 2p plus 1 minus 1. All right, on number 30, I can take 3 out of both of these, and I end up with n squared minus 49. Okay, and I break this up to have n plus 7 and n minus 7. Try number 13. So, well, I guess the variable kind of gives it away, but even though you can find the square root of 16 and 100, you still need to take out the greatest common factor first, or it is not completely factored. So I can divide both of these numbers by 4, and I can take a k out. So I'm left with 4k squared minus 25. I bring down my 4k. I have 2k plus 5 and 2k minus 5. Okay. And on 32, I can take mn out, and I'd be left with m squared minus 1. Okay, so I have mn, m plus 1, and m minus 1. Okay, so that is that. Your homework is on the back side of yesterday's. I will be back tomorrow, so try to get as much of this done as possible so that you can ask questions. Have a good day.